Womanhood. Super, ain't it? You make a house a home, you're effortlessly beautiful, and manage tons of responsibility. Best part is, everyone knows you can do it. They don't even ask. They don't offer help. You just do it. Every day you get to use your superpowers to save the world. Isn't it great to have a cape? I'm over it. Women are the superheroes that save the world. We know it all, do it all, and be it all. But here, we just talk about it all. Welcome to the Surviving Superwoman Show, where we take the capes off and tell our truth.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Surviving Superwoman Show. I'm so happy to be here. It's your girl, Missy. How y'all doing?
What's up, y'all? It's DJ. I'm so excited to be here with y'all.
I know. I missed y'all.
I know.
Hey, y'all. Y'all know it's Des. What's up
Hey,
in the
Des.
building?
Hey, girl. Hey. So I'm so happy to be here. Welcome to another episode of the Surviving Superwoman Show. So y'all know what's next. We're going to get into it and talk about how we feeling before we get into the topic. The topic of today will be therapy. Everybody's favorite topic. It's like, I don't know if it's everybody's favorite, but it needs to be talked about regardless. So if you like it, you like it. If you don't, you don't. It's your medicine. It's going to make you better at the end of the day, okay? But before we get into it, we got to check in with our host. So go ahead, DJ. Take it away.
So we gonna get into the mental health check-in, right? 3 words or less, because y'all know we talk too damn much. 3 words or less. I want to check in with y'all and see how y'all been doing.
Okay.
So, Missy, how you been doing? In 3 words or less.
Optimistic, nervous, but ready.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
That's how you been doing.
Relaxing.
As you should be.
Excited.
You don't sound excited at all.
Yeah.
Because the third word is blah.
All right, so if she dry today, y'all know why, but nah.
I'm excited,
Okay,
though.
excited
and blah together is
I know.
crazy.
I know.
Excited and blah. Okay.
DJ, how you doing? You good?
So I'm okay. I am selfish. I'm being selfish. Which is a good thing. Curious is a word I would use.
Okay.
And excited.
Okay. So everybody in this bitch excited.
Excited.
So keep that same energy. I want to feel excitement today.
Okay.
Be excited about therapy, motherfuckers, because that's what we talking about. All right. So before we get into the episode, y'all know it's very, very necessary that we do the reading of the Cape Rights, okay? This is the Surviving Superwoman Show, okay? So everybody puts on us that we need to be superwoman and do it all the time. But we know here that is not realistic and it's exhausting. And frankly, it's just not cute. So we're not doing it here. So we're going to read the Cape Rights because I got to keep you motherfuckers accountable and make sure that we are really, really talking. Okay? So each of the hosts are going to repeat after me. And if you watching and tuning in from your phone at home or wherever the fuck you at, you need to say them too. So the Cape Rights go like this. I am not a superhero. I am taking my cape off. And my only obligation is to tell my truth. Boom. Destiny.
I'm not a superhero. I'm taking my cape off, and my only obligation is to tell my truth.
We're going to get that blah out of here today. Go ahead.
I am not a superhero. I'm taking my cape off. My only obligation is to tell my truth.
Okay, good. So make sure y'all hoes telling the truth. All right.
Absolutely.
So go ahead.
So, all right. So y'all know, like we said, it's Surviving Superwoman Show. And so the beautiful thing about Black and brown women, and I mean it to be honest, all women, but for sure, you know, here, the Black and brown women, the beautiful thing is that we have real life superpowers. And we are really out here changing the world, saving the world, and doing all these beautiful things. And we don't want to necessarily knock that with this show. It just has to be manageable, kind of like weight loss, portion control type of thing. Like
Come on, portion control.
Okay, the superpower.
I can use a little bit of that, okay?
The superpower needs to be a little portion control.
Yeah,
right?
y'all binging on the superpower.
Yeah,
like,
you can't save everybody. You can save two or three people that show children or some shit, but that's about it. So, but I want to highlight those beautiful things about us. So today we're talking about therapy, and therapy is a big conversation. But I want to know, what is your superpower related to therapy?
That's a hard question.
It is.
That's a hard question.
It is. What is your superpower related to therapy?
I'm going to say my superpower related to therapy is that I'm going to get in there and tell the truth. Mm-hmm. People lie in therapy.
They do.
You know what I mean? And the only reason I know that is because I have friends who are therapists. People take their ass to therapy and lie.
They sure
and
do.
It's pointless. I think it's pointless because they can't help you if you lie. It's just like going to the regular doctor. If you're not honest about your symptoms, they cannot help you.
Yeah.
Right?
Agreed.
So I think the superpower is that I'm an honest person. And even though sometimes my conversation with my therapist, I could feel shame at moments, but I know that she cannot help me if I'm not honest. So I think that's my superpower. I'm going to just put it out on the table and I'm going to just say it.
Okay. I love that. DJ, what's your superpower in relation to therapy?
Can I go last?
No, you going now.
I love how we both was like, no. No.
Therapy sessions be long. Shit.
Good.
So it's got to be a superpower in that motherfucker somewhere.
As much as I hate it, I get very vulnerable in the therapy session. So I'm going to say that's a superpower. I will, whatever I'm feeling, and it just flows. I don't necessarily want it to, and I don't do it on purpose. But I just let it go.
Okay.
I guess.
Okay.
Yeah.
So vulnerability.
You gotta be vulnerable. If you're not vulnerable in therapy, where you gonna be vulnerable? If we can't go to Bella Noche, where the hell can we go?
Okay. Did y'all see that video of Bella Noche banging a couple like last month?
Yes.
I was like, damn, this is why she was upset.
upset.
Because Bella Noche's be
We gotta go out of
jumping.
town and go to Bella Noche.
We should plan a trip to
That
Bella
baby
Noche.
was jumping. I said, damn. Okay. So for me, my superpower, what is my superpower in therapy?
Girl, you a therapist, so I know this is gonna be hard.
My superpower in therapy is that I can turn the fact that I'm a therapist off.
That's good.
And so, and I really do think that's my superpower because I am a therapist, I'm a clinical social worker, I can go into therapy and be like, yeah, they supposed to say this and I supposed to say this and they think that and da-da-da-da-da. And I really don't. Like, I go to, most of the time I don't even tell my therapist up front that I'm a therapist because I need you to deal with me and all my toxicity naturally and raw. I don't want you to be thinking about the fact that I'm judging you because I'm not, sis. I'm judging my shit.
Right.
And my shit has more problems. And just because I'm a therapist, I cannot therapize myself at all. I've tried. If y'all know me, you know my personality, you know I've tried. It don't work.
Right.
So my superpower is being able to walk in there and to really be treated as a client.
That's beautiful.
And I absolutely love it. I hate when I got to tell my therapist.
It's like when a doctor got to go to the doctor.
Yep.
It's like, oh my God.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I'm not in there for that. Girl, I don't know what you looked up in that damn book. Okay?
And
I'm
what the
telling
fuck
you
is you
what
writing
this
down?
is. Okay?
What is you writing down?
What it say? No, I don't think that's what it's supposed to say. But whatever, you know. So that's my superpower.
Okay.
So what is your kryptonite? When it comes to therapy, what's buckling you at the knees?
Because if I don't agree with the therapist, I'm gonna tell her ass I don't agree with her.
She don't give a fuck.
I know, but in my mind, it's just like I'm not going in there to be perfect. I'm not going in there to look super put together, and I don't necessarily have to agree with everything you say. And sometimes, most of the time, when I challenge my therapist, I'm wrong because they walk me back to where they got that from. And I don't always see it. I'm not a therapist. You know what I'm saying? But I will challenge my therapist. But it's the lawyer in me. I challenge every fucking thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Help it.
And if you can't withstand being
You should be
challenged, then you
challenging,
cannot
yeah.
be my therapist.
Yeah.
So
If
that's my
challenges are
kryptonite.
popping in your head and they're not being worked through in that session, they're not going to be effective anyway. So that's good.
Yeah,
I like
and so that's my kryptonite. I think I challenge the therapist, and sometimes maybe not justifiably so. Like sometimes I'm challenging them to avoid the little
Absolutely.
accountability piece. And I'm a pretty accountable
Everybody
person,
is.
but you know, I'm human. And sometimes it's just like I had a therapist tell me I had an issue with vulnerability, and I really didn't think so. I'm on a whole podcast telling my business every week, bitch. I'm vulnerable, but
Not for, yeah.
you get what I'm saying? It was more to unpack there.
But
But
tell them what you're comfortable telling.
man, I
that's what I'm
cried a couple episodes ago. Don't do me. But no, I feel you. But yes, that's exactly what I'm talking about. Like I'll challenge it. You know what I'm saying? I'll challenge it in my I'm gonna make her earn her motherfucking money during the hour. The fuck?
I'm going to just kick your ass
I've been
out.
through a lot. Okay.
DJ, what is your kryptonite when it comes to therapy?
As vulnerable as I can get.
Let me find out you lying.
I can not.
That's
I
your
don't lie.
superpower
I
and your
don't lie.
kryptonite?
I don't lie. No, it's my face. So if something happens, I get this question all the time. She'll look at me and be like, "What just happened? What just happened? What just happened?" And I'm like,
What do you mean? Give us more detail what that looks like.
I'll sit there, and I've been going to couples therapy.
Okay.
Okay. And if my husband say something that just pissed me off, I will instantly, my expressions will go to shit.
Good.
I'm trying.
You trying to what? You trying to...
I'm trying
Hey,
to
you ain't
keep.
supposed to have no poker face in
yeah,
therapy.
I be
Yeah.
trying
No.
to
So what
not-
you trying to what?
So I be trying to keep myself. I really be trying not to express what I.
What you
Because she
Right.
in there with
Yeah.
another person. So that
Yeah,
might
so
be
I
what
could
it
be
is.
like you bitch ass, like you so full of shit.
Oh,
And I
that's
be,
what you be
"Look,"
wanting to say.
and that's what my
Oh.
face say, like you so full of shit. But
Oh.
and then she'll sit there
I
like,
don't
what
think you
just
should hold
happened?
back.
What just happened?
As a therapist, I ain't gonna say as a therapist, but Des, do you think she should say if she feel like whatever's being said is like if the other person she
I don't think she should interrupt. I don't think she should be disrespectful. But I think there's a way to communicate your feelings
It's
without
hard.
either of those two things.
It's hard not to interrupt.
You gotta be like, I don't believe you.
but
you
I
can't
will
say you
sit
full
there
of shit.
and
You can say that's
maybe
not
that's
true
not
if
a
it's
me
not
thing.
true.
Maybe
Yeah.
that's not a me thing because I will sit there
Fair.
and I try my best not to just blurt out that's some bullshit, but my face will say that's some bullshit, right? And then that's like, okay, he instantly stops. I can see your face, and I'm like,
Oh, you fucking up his therapy.
Okay. I feel
and
that.
then it'll be instant shutdown, and then what just happened there?
It needs to be true. therapy
Well, he
shit.
full of shit. You know what I'm saying?
Shit, I mean. Listen, I just told y'all I'm super honest in therapy, so if they full of shit, it is what it is. But
Okay, because then we
I've
talking
also
receipts.
never been in couples therapy, so
That
I
shit
can't
is
speak.
No, I
rough.
feel you. I feel you.
It's rough. 'cause
So
it's-
it is about holding your poker face just a second for wait your turn. It's like it's like
Right.
court. I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to you. Like it is the
No, in
defendant's
Thor, we
turn.
make all the faces. The
Or
other
the
attorney be
plaintiff's turn.
talking, we be on Zoom like, no.
right.
I'm okay with the faces, but it does trigger your
Yeah.
partner.
Yeah. And they can't get the full experience maybe if they get,
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's
I don't
like
know.
They
instant-
also, but your partner also has to become comfortable with just speaking their truth, no matter what the faces are. I mean, you know what I'm saying?
Fair.
Like, there's accountability and responsibility in all spaces, and so the truth of the matter is, it's just known that everybody has different experiences in the same space, and so my experience and your experience might look different. And when I tell my experience, I don't want to demean, but then I also want to acknowledge your experience. So
That's
it's a
fair.
little bit of both. So you gotta
It's a
fix
lot
your
of
shit
balancing.
and fix your shit, and you also have to, you know, your partner has to be okay with your shit changing sometimes. It's a little bit of both.
Well, so
You
what's
know.
your kryptonite in therapy?
That I'm a therapist.
Fair.
Yeah.
Fair.
So I overthink certain answers to questions. I think how it's going to be perceived. I think what's the next steps. I think what's she going to diagnose me as. I think, well, I don't want her to say this because that ain't what I mean, so I'm going to do it this way. You know, like I try to jump ahead of certain things that I can't. So it's funny because my career, my superpower is that I'm able to come in, but it come in and be a client, but it seeps through all over the place, you know, that I am an actual therapist. So I have to remind myself constantly that this is not a study group. This is not a situation where I'm collaborating with her. I'm working on myself.
Yeah, you ain't a case study.
I'm not.
You here as a human.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
And so I don't have to be perfect. I don't have to perfectly figure out my emotions. I don't have to perfectly dissect them. I don't have to know exactly what, even if the textbook says I'm supposed to go through this, and this, they don't have to go in that order or exactly how it is. And so just because I am a therapist, I have some knowledge based around it, and it takes away grace for me. So I have to remind myself to keep grace.
I can see that.
Yeah, because I know that grief looks like anger, denial, da-da-da-da. But if I'm handling it in a different order, I think that I'm fucking psycho. You know what I'm saying? Like, now I'm trying to diagnose myself with personality disorder and shit, borderline personality disorder. And it's like, bitch, no.
Right.
You're wrong. You know. So
I feel that.
That's my thing.
Okay. All right. So now we're going to get into the discussion questions. Am I right? That's where we at next? We're going to really get into the shits?
Yeah.
Okay. So as you can tell, the topic of today is therapy. So we just talked about our superpowers and our kryptonite when it comes to that. Everybody has strengths and weaknesses in all areas. And so I'm happy you know, that we were able to be vulnerable in that space. But let's get a little deeper.
Have y'all been to therapy? And if so, I mean, we talked about it a little bit a few minutes ago, but have you been to therapy, and in what capacity, and what does that look like before we get deep into it?
Yes. In the capacity, I've just done individual therapy. And I know, like, the hot, sexy thing for people to ask me when I got engaged is, y'all gonna do couples counseling? Y'all gonna do couples counseling? We did not. It's something I believe in. We just didn't do it.
Agreed.
But I've been in individual therapy. What that looks like is a lot of dissecting my memories, dissecting like some memory loss issues from trauma. It's been a row, and it's on and off for me. Like, I have times where I'm in crisis and I'm in therapy a lot, like twice a week, just because I'm struggling managing my emotions. And most of the time, it's not about the crisis itself. It's the fact that the crisis happened and I'm still overwhelmed because I still have life to do on top of whatever crisis it is. So it's like that. And like when I'm okay and not in crisis, I'm not really in therapy that much. So I tend to run to therapy when I'm the most in crisis. That's not necessarily, I don't think that's necessarily a good thing, because I think doing it more consistently would be healthier. However, that's what therapy looks like for me. Just is what it is.
DJ, what does it look like for you?
So I've never actually been to individual therapy.
Okay.
So I've only been to couples therapy. And I've tried it twice. This is our second go around. The first time we did it, I had just had C4. Just had C4. But
for the people who don't know, that's your first.
That is my first son. He is 3. I had just had him, and unbeknownst to me, I was going through postpartum depression and all of that.
Okay.
So we was going through a lot in our marriage, but diving into couples therapy, that shit, I was like a brick wall. I ain't want to hear none of that shit. I ain't give a fuck what nobody had to say. I ain't want to hear nothing. Fuck you, fuck him, fuck everybody. I was just, I needed to work out the postpartum depression and do the individual. I felt like I was we was, thrown into the couples therapy, but I don't think that it was right for me at that time. You
saying it should have been individual therapy?
First, yes.
Okay.
Hindsight, yes. I needed the individual therapy because I didn't even know I was going through postpartum. I didn't know what the fuck that was.
I think a lot of women can relate to that.
Right.
I think an overwhelming amount of women can relate
You
to that.
know,
that's
you
why I
just
asked to
you
get that
in a
clarity.
slump. You not yourself. You don't. You know, the baby crying. You don't. It's a lot. You know, who am I now? What am I doing? Like, what? I'm not me. When can I get back to me? It was a lot of that.
Okay.
And going into couples therapy and trying to consider another person, and I'm dealing with all of this stuff. I couldn't do it.
I think that would be a lot for anybody. But thank you for sharing that.
Yeah,
Just because I
absolutely.
think a lot of women can relate to that.
It was rough.
Des, what did your therapy journey look like?
So, my absolute first time going to therapy is because it was a requirement to become a therapist. So, I had to go to therapy, individual therapy. That was my very first time. And I ain't gonna lie, I kind of did what I needed to do to get through it because I'm, you're in the middle of a master's degree program and you're just trying to graduate.
And even without
And-
that, some sessions is like that.
Some sessions are
Some
like
sessions
that.
are just like that. Like,
Yeah, but it was cool. We did what we needed to do. I didn't really dive deep into a lot of things. It was really more about my profession and why I want to do it. And then as I got a little older, more things started to happen in my life. And then I did therapy again when I had some workplace trauma going on. Well, you know what? I'm lying. I went to therapy over like trying to learn how to build my relationship more. And then it turned into this workplace trauma situation that it ended up being honest, it ended up being more hurtful than helpful,
Yeah.
like the situation. But it was okay. It ended up being more hurtful than helpful. And I'm not saying that to say don't go to therapy because I absolutely think that you need to. But what I am saying is that it's very important to find a therapist that matches you. So if you go
gotta
to
date
one,
them.
you have to date them. And if you go to one and it doesn't go the way that you want it to go or you don't feel comfortable, then you go to another one. It's just, they're people. Everybody is people. I'm not everybody's therapist. There are some
Yeah.
people who I've seen one time and they never came back. And it's probably because I'm not their cup of tea. And that's fine. And so that's something that needs to be known across the board. So
I'm glad you said that
can
because
I
a lot of
ask
people
a
will
real-
go and not go again because
Yeah.
it just
because that one therapist wasn't
I
right.
ain't going no more
Can I
therapy.
ask
yeah.
a real quick
and
question?
and just to be clear, your therapist does not define therapy.
right.
And that's the thing that needs to be known. Like the practice
That's
of
a good
therapy
piece.
is not defined by one individual person. And I had to learn that the hard way, even being a therapist. I really, really had to learn that the hard way. Went into a depression and some other shit because, it just wasn't what I thought it was supposed to be. But I'm grateful for the experience now because it taught me, for one, I was a part of the profession. So I knew there were other spaces of it. So I had to figure the shit out. So it gave me the oomph to get back up and look again. And then my next time going through therapy, it was absolutely wonderful. It was absolutely great. I need to find a new therapist again now because that particular person is not practicing anymore. But it was absolutely great. And I also have been to couples therapy as well, and that was a thing too. So that went good. We didn't go. We need to go back. Not even because there's any problems. Like it's just like an apple a day, keep the
check-in.
doctors
Yeah.
away. Good, but we did go. We talked to. It was helpful. It opened up conversation. We talk a lot anyway, I got a bunch of games and shit at the house. I'm just I got
You're
therapy
a communicative
games.
person.
Yeah.
I am. So if he ain't talking to me, I'm going to pull out a deck of cards and some shit with a question on it and slide it
Girl,
to
I'm
him.
going to pull out, Lord forgive me. I hope the wrong people ain't watching. I'm going to pull out a bong and we going to talk.
Yeah.
Specifically the one I got as a wedding gift.
Okay, period.
I ain't gonna say who bought it.
It's nice and
Not
metallic.
you.
Blue.
We're gonna say who bought it,
we call him
but-
Jeezy.
Color of the wedding.
Very icy, so we call him Jeezy.
I was in the
It's
store.
so
Very nice. I've seen it. It's
Yes.
very nice.
I was in the store matching it.
With the
This
swatches
look
of the
like the dress.
It looked just like y'all dress.
It's
But no,
nice.
real quick though, because this ain't a scheduled question, so I'm gonna make it quick. But I really do want to ask you a question because I think that this is something that comes up often, and I know that you have the expertise to talk about it. Do you think that necessarily a person has to go to a therapist who matches their demographic because I know that that's something that people do, and it doesn't always work out. Like, as a black woman, I don't have to start off with a black woman therapist.
So I'm gonna say it depends on what it is that you want to work on, and like we said before, date therapists. So there might be there's been a time in my life that I needed a black woman to look at me and talk and help me, because she understood what the hell I was going through.
Yeah.
There's other times that professionally, I needed a white man to look at me in my face and say, what? Because what you're going through as a black woman is something that a white man would never have to go through.
Right.
And I needed them to say, no, fuck that. Just go and ask the question.
That's
no,
not
fuck that.
real,
Just go.
or it doesn't have to be that way.
And I do think that you need different types of therapists for different times. There's sex therapists. There's work therapists. There are trauma therapists. There are, all type of things. They couple therapists.
One of my
specialize
therapists
in all these different
specialized in. She was a black female therapist, but she was also like a financial advisor. Yep. So she kind of worked that into her therapy practice, which I thought was really cool, because I don't care what nobody say. Money fucks up your mental. Like, things that happens with money, and if you don't have a clue on how to overcome that, work through it, the things that you can do to fix that,
Yeah.
So all those things. That's why I wanted to ask, because
I think the demographics.
I've been stuck to the idea that I need a black female therapist, and lately I've been thinking, like, that's not necessarily true.
Well, I do think that you need a core, right?
Yeah.
So, the black female experience is so specific that I do think you need somebody that understands those realms of life, right?
Right.
But the other side of it is the actual teachings of therapy is that you're not supposed to be putting your own experiences into the situation anyway. Not to that degree,
as
right?
a therapist.
As a therapist, but living in a realistic state, when I'm listening to my black female clients, there are pieces that I understand more because I am a black female, and I'm able to guide and question and explore a lot easier because, goddamn it, I know what it looks like too, and that's just realistic. So don't fall short of that, or don't fall deaf of that thing, because that's a real thing.
Yeah.
Do I think that you can also explore other therapists in different spaces that don't necessarily look like you? Absolutely. I do think that it's just very important to make sure you understand why you are going to them.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
So if you want to talk finances, you going to, you know what I'm saying? Like, I just think it's important that you know why. That you get in that different perspective.
Because if I'm feeling a way about, being treated a certain way because I'm a black woman, then a black woman might be useful. But if it's just motherhood, then it doesn't necessarily have to be a black woman, but someone who understands, motherhood, or trained, or whatever, or postpartum training or something like that.
Definitely postpartum training, I would think, is something like that. But I would say that it's important to make sure you understand that when you're talking to somebody, right? So I've had a white male therapist before, and he's telling me all these wonderful things. In my mind, I have to dissect them and understand them and put them into my life, but I also have to have the front understanding that he's a white man, and his perspective is coming from a white man's space. And so he might be telling you steps 1, 2, and 3, but that might look like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 for you.
Right.
And so you just have to understand where everybody sits in this realm.
Yeah.
If you finna go talk to somebody else about navigating your life, you have to understand what navigating their space looks like minimally. Not for them to share their personal things, but when you are dissecting something and they giving you something, it's like, okay, I hear that from somebody who has to take three steps. I might need to take 6.
Right.
And that's okay.
Right.
Because I can still get there, but I just need to know what that looks like. So that's the thing.
Okay, thanks for answering that. That was something I was wondering.
I got a question so it kind of plays into that, right? Because you can see... It's hard enough to even see one therapist, right? So trying to see multiple is crazy. So
you cannot see multiple within a month on your insurance.
That is
okay. Y'all heard that?
Because therapy is multiple
things. And you might need to check because it might be more. It might be more for some other insurances, but you cannot see any type of doctor or any type of anything within a month. So if you go to a 1-foot doctor, you cannot go to a different foot doctor until that month is over.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Like, you cannot. Because,
Yeah. See, we learned something today. I never knew that.
I didn't know that.
I mean, and it might be, a month is generally what I've heard, but it's based on your insurances. So it still could be different. But you cannot go to a PCP, 2 different PCPs
In a month.
In a month.
month.
I see.
Huh.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Wow. Well, so I'm asking that to say, like, it's hard to really talk to people anyway.
Yep.
So, like, what are some preconceived notions that you had, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because I've always heard, it's why are you telling people all our business? You don't need to tell people all your business.
Yeah.
So seeing one person and telling them your business.
People who go to therapy are crazy. That's
And,
the preconceived notion.
Yes.
Yeah, you're automatically crazy. You just talking to somebody you don't know. Like,
Yeah.
my grandma will say that all the time. Like, why would I want to go and talk to somebody I don't know?
And they call him a shrink.
Right.
You going to
Is
see
she
a shrink?
Like, that's bad.
And it just makes it sound bad. One preconceived notion I had was simply that black people don't go to therapy.
We don't need it.
Yeah, black people don't need it.
That's a white person thing.
No, not a white person, a white woman thing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I mean, that's for white women who
Yeah.
can't handle stress. They always cry because white women have historically been able to be emotional. And
That's
It's
why
looked at as
Karen
being
exists.
weak.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
That's the
Like,
only
white
reason why the
women
whole
have
notion of Karen exists.
been able to be outwardly emotional no matter the situation, and it's been allowed, right? And so the preconceived notion there is that, they emotional, they in therapy, those are just the type of people, and we grew up thinking that. So that was the biggest preconceived notion for me, that therapy was a white woman thing.
Like, part of that strong
Which is so
black-
ignorant, but
that strong black woman, superwoman type of deal is if you go to therapy, you are weak. You
Yeah.
have broke. Why do you need to do that? You should, like, you know what
no,
I'm saying?
and what therapy
Well,
gonna
it's
do?
not even weak. Well, and so my thing is, I wasn't told even weak. If you go to therapy, you're crazy.
Yeah,
So it's
something
not
wrong
even
with you.
necessary
Right.
that you're weak. You should be like committed. Like you need to have schizophrenia. You need to have borderline
Bipolar,
personality.
yeah.
Bipolar. You are one of those people that you got mental health issues. You're one of those people walking around outside of the corner store begging for some change. I hate to say it, but that's in the black community. That's kind of what was perceived. And you're only going to see your psychiatrist because the word therapy wasn't even used like that. You're going to see your psychiatrist simply because you're crazy. And my grandmama used to specifically say crazier than a Betsy bug. Like, it was a thing. Like, you're crazy. And I have an uncle who has schizophrenia. And it was like, if you not walking around talking to yourself the way he does,
What
need
you
to
going
go to
for?
therapy.
What you going for?
And there was no concept between a therapist or a psychologist or a psychiatrist. And there was no concept of like mental health professionals to seek out when you're having certain problems. Like in
Even being a social worker, right? Because technically I'm a clinical social worker. I didn't know that I could be a therapist until I got in it.
oh wow.
Till I was in college and found out that it qualifies, if I go and get my graduate degree, it qualifies to be able to be a therapist. I had no idea. I was trying to be a social worker because I was trying to be a social worker. I wanted to help the communities, help kids, help, work in all of those different spaces. I didn't, until I went into graduate research, figuring out what I wanted to do for my graduate degree. I'd already had a bachelor's in social work before I learned that master level social workers own private practices and provide direct therapy. I had no idea. Like, it's only always been the people in the psych wards or the people with the couch that you gotta lay on with the big words, and they giving you medicine and all these other things. And medicine is a different conversation because I don't think medicine is all bad either.
Yeah.
I can't prescribe medicine, but a lot of people need it.
Yes.
And just like you need some, a muscle relaxer for your leg,
Or
you
a
probably
Tylenol
need,
for your headache.
Exactly. You need some anxiety medicine to
Yep.
get through. That's a different thing. But yeah, I never even knew that the two were related. I always thought Frasier was a psychiatrist. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, think about how many other psychiatrists you knew. Frasier.
Yeah.
Who else do you know?
Yeah.
Like, right? Like, growing up, who was just a psychologist?
Right.
Frasier and
nobody, not
fucking
a
Niall,
psychologist.
him and his
The
brother.
The next close, like the only thing, and like I said, I grew up in black ass Detroit. Everybody was black. The only people in arm's reach that were even close were the counselors at school.
Yeah.
The
Yes.
social workers at school.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then, like, mind you, the social worker at school didn't necessarily deal with all the kids. The social worker, when I was coming up, the social worker was mostly dealing with kids who were having, like, CPS issues and stuff at home. Like,
Yeah.
And even your guidance counselor in high school, it wasn't communicated to me that was somebody you can go talk to about personal issues.
wasn't.
This
No.
was who was making your schedule.
Because they don't
and
have
if you wanted
time.
to switch your class, that's who you go to.
Yeah.
So they
So
don't, they
there
don't
was
have
not,
time.
there were not, the rhetoric wasn't given to me that there were
Absolutely.
mental health professionals there at all times to help
That
you
they're there to
through
work through any mental
Crisis.
health.
Literally at the fucking school.
That's
Did not
still
know
what's
it.
happening. I mean, that's what's happening now. Social workers. So, I've had a personal standoff with the social work profession that I will not get a certificate in school social work. No, you won't catch me in it because it's automatically going to put me into a space where I only work with kids with certain disabilities and have
Yeah.
to work through IEP and things like that.
Yep.
And then even guidance counselors. I didn't know that guidance counselors were doing therapy until I was in my internship in a high school working under a guidance counselor. And she was rushing out one day and said she had to go because she had a session. And I said, a session for what?
Mm-hmm.
And she was like, girl, when you get this master's degree, you can go do therapy. Excuse me?
Hold on.
What did you say to me?
And that's crazy because, like, it's one thing to be in the Black community nowhere near the educational realm
Yep.
for mental health and not know.
Yeah.
It's another thing to be in there and have a whole degree
No
in it
idea.
and not know. That
Yeah.
lets you know how, like, much distance it is between the Black community
Yep.
and actual
Yep.
effective
Yeah.
mental health. That's
Yep.
crazy.
That's
That's
absolutely.
absolutely crazy. So I got a question, too. How do, because we talked a little bit about it. I know I was saying, like, you know, what my parents and stuff was teaching me about therapy coming up. But, like, how do generational differences affect your therapy journey? Like, and what I mean when I say that is because, like, I know a lot of us are, like, first generation therapy goers, right? So even with all those preconceived notions that were being taught to us, we've had this new wave of people being, you know, especially Black people being invested in their mental health and going to therapy because shit is heavy, we tired, right? And dissecting all of that, you know, sometimes you get back around your family members and you've been in therapy unpacking all these things and tracing things back to their source. And some of the family members is the source of some of the shit you're going through. And so for me, it's played a big role. It even, you know, put wedges between me and family members sometimes because I realize that the way they handle things are manipulative, secretive, disrespectful, even though I didn't, you know, have the words for it at the time or whatever. And sometimes it causes a divide, but that's for me personally. Have y'all had that experience?
Or what are the generational differences?
Yeah, or like, you know, has it caused any divide, or have you taught your, you know, like higher
what are
generation?
the-
Yeah,
yeah.
like what's happened since you've been
Yeah.
in therapy?
I can use an example. So it's not even me being in therapy. One of my little cousins started individual therapy. So I am like first grandchild, first everything. Okay. And then it's the next generation after me. So a lot of the stuff that she comes back with, my millennial self is very accepting of, you know, this is toxic and this is this, and I don't want to talk to this person no more, you know. But like my grandma, my aunts, you know, even my mom, they'll dismiss it. Like, I mean, I get, like, they will literally dismiss everything that she says coming from therapy. And I have to tell them, like, y'all, have y'all heard the way y'all be talking about each other and shit? Like, she's not wrong. It's very fucking dismissive. And it's crazy. They just automatically like, okay, yeah, whatever. I mean, are you feeling good though? I guess that's great. But, you know, whatever. You know?
Yeah, it's like they care about you being okay, but the way you got there, they don't even want to hear it. They're
Nah,
like,
because it's
that's
bringing
crazy.
up stuff
That's
that
some new
they-
shit y'all doing.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. So in my life, generational differences have been a big deal. My dad has struggled with like drugs and stuff like that growing up. And I have a very big family on one side. I have a very medium family on both sides. But everybody agreed to one thing. And it's not just my dad. I got uncles on both sides. You know what I'm saying? The crack and heroin epidemic kicked our motherfucking ass. It just is what it is. But the way that my family has always been taught to deal with it is to hush, hush, be quiet, make it look great on the outside, fix whatever issues there are, save whatever problems, be, you know. And as a kid who had to kind of go through it in that moment, I always thought that I was wrong. Having the need and the feel to want to talk about it, want to dissect it, want to figure it out. And I thought it was kind of outrageous that everybody else was quiet. You know what I mean? And so once I started to dissect things, for a minute, I was coming out swinging, baby. Oh, man. I was coming out on niggas. Like, well, you ain't never da-da-da-da-da.
And you were a therapist. You weren't just a person going to therapy. You were very well versed in study.
I was disrupting the motherfucker. I was disrupting the family dinner like Mike ass on what did I like, okay.
Boom.
Yeah. I'm dropping the motherfucking gems.
But
well, you don't such and such and such. You don't such and such and such. Like, I absolutely attacked a lot of my generations. And I didn't need to. But I kept going to therapy. And when you keep going, because you have to keep going, when you keep going, you learn that just like you are learning this stuff and you putting your boundaries up all hard and you got to work through that, that's because it's new to you. Other people, the same way it was built in you, it was built in them. So everybody has parents. Everybody has parents. Everybody has rules. Everybody has slavery. Everybody has systematic racism. Everybody has all of these things in your family, let's be clear, that they've had to kind of deal with. And so there were issues of perfectionism I'm sure my dad was struggling with. There are things that, my aunts or whatever were struggling with, poverty, all these type of things. And so when you go more, you understand that everybody is built up the same way you were. And then you start learning to have a little grace and understanding that space. But that doesn't happen off rip. At all. Right?
Yep.
And so those generational differences are hard. I was snapping on my granny. Listen, I'll never forget snapping on, I remember I snapped on my dad in front of my granny house and my granny called me like, you're not supposed, she was like, I understand you're upset, but that's your dad. You're never supposed to do that.
I don't like that. That's your family. I do not like that,
baby. And I was so angry at her for so long. Like, no lie, for so long. And then I had to go through a bunch of therapy sessions and get into the discussion of, do you understand what it means to be a black woman in her life?
Right.
And in her time.
This
what she was telling you is the way that she's still alive today.
Survive. She trying to teach you how to survive.
You know? And at the end of the day,
and all they had was religion in.
So how do you get favor with the Lord?
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's where they coming from. Like, you healing or whatever, but how do you get favor with the Lord? And it ain't disrespecting your parents.
Yeah.
I'm already here.
Respect to your parents matters. You know what I'm
and
saying?
It does.
But the research wasn't there as much about parenting and how the decisions of your parents affect you. None of that was, especially for no black woman. So, like, that's just one example. Because I was angry at her for years about that shit. I would not let that go because how dare my first time speaking out, you tell me I was wrong, But then I realized she looking at me like, oh my God, this baby gonna have a horrible life because she don't realize she needs to shut the fuck up.
Yep.
And that's a generational difference.
Yep.
Because I'm not shutting the fuck up, but I understand why you think that I should.
Need to.
And
you're
it's
right. Out of fear.
And you're
fear
right.
Because that was a real thing for you.
And you're absolutely right.
So I got one last question. This one might touch the people some type of way. I don't know. But is spirituality and or religion a substitute for therapy?
No.
Why you say that?
I hear it all the time. Like, you can just pray about it, right? Just pray about it. I get that. But you still have to do the work, right? So you're asking for the Lord to make your situation better. Okay. He's going to open up the doors for you to do that. He's not just going to say, okay, here goes some money.
It's better. Right, right.
He ain't going to do that. So therapy is one of the avenues that you take to get better, right? It's you not just go pray your problems away and hope the Lord fix it. Right? Like, what is it?
I 100% agree. It's just like you want the Lord to cure you from your diabetes, but you don't want to change your diet.
Right.
So what do you want?
What are you really doing?
I 100% agree. And And the thing is, I face this so often because I think, especially with my siblings, like I ran into this recently with my siblings because my mom recently passed. And like, me and my siblings, we had a difficult relationship with our mom, and they were all different because we're all like 4 or 5 years apart. My mom struggled with addiction, and so we all got different versions of my mom. And so with the way with the way that we handled, each of us individually handled our mom dying was just different. And I remember talking to my brother, and my brother, I guess he felt that I was being closed off and guarded, and I wasn't being openly emotional about how I felt. And the love for my mom, I guess, just wasn't oozing from my ears and stuff because the fact that she had just died. Not that I didn't love my mom, but I had some things that I had worked through in therapy. But my brother is on the other side of that. He don't go to therapy because God is all he needs.
Yeah.
So when I'm saying certain things and communicating certain things to him about the way I'm handling it, the way I feel, the way things have been unpacked with my therapist, the things that I've accepted and moved on from, he can't grasp that because we're coming from different perspectives.
Absolutely.
Right? And I mean, that's just kind of been my experience with it. And I honestly think that you need both if you're a spiritual person. I'm not necessarily religious, so you're not going to catch me in church every Sunday and all of that stuff, doing communion and paying tithes and stuff like that. But I am spiritual. I pray often. You know what I mean? However, I firmly believe that faith without works is dead. Like, you can pray all the time, but if you're not doing anything to better yourself, to get another perspective, to unpack, to dig into those things that are painful, he's not going to do that for you. You see what I'm saying? And so I think that it's not a replacement. I think they work hand in hand. It's just like if you want to lose weight, it's diet and exercise. It ain't just diet. It ain't just exercise. You need both. You know what I mean? And so I think that they complement each other. I don't think one is a replacement for the other.
So I agree. I always look at it the same way that I look at going to any other doctor or any other doctor's appointment or anything like that. You cannot pray away your broken leg, right?
Right.
You just can't. Like, you got to go to the doctor. They got to put the cast on it. They got the, you know what I'm saying? And even back then, before doctors had formal offices and things, you had to get the branches in the cast. It's like your broken leg still had to be treated the way they need to be treated, right? For me, I look at therapy as the logical way to address the things that are going on. Because at the end of the day, whether we like it or not, our brain is a cognitive thing. It is a science. There are ways that your brain operates no matter what. There are things that will happen to you and your brain will go these certain ways no matter what. That is a science. That is just like if you bend your arm back too far, it will break. That is a science. That's something that has to be done. Spirituality, religion, and things like that, which are great motivators, great empowerers, that's a discussion more on the supernatural end. I mean, just being honest. Like,
which
it really
I acknowledge
is.
exists.
And I acknowledge that it exists.
Yes,
and
absolutely.
faith, baby, is a real thing, right? But I truly believe that if you don't have to stay, if you stay ready, you don't have to get ready, right? So when I need my faith to jump in, it will jump in, and the Lord is always with me. But sometimes there are things that the Lord can put on you that you're not prepared because you didn't do the actual logical, everyday, scientific work that is related to it. God cannot give you, if you are a track star and you break your leg and God give you the opportunity to run in the biggest race of your life, you can't run if the leg is broke. Period. God gave you the opportunity that you done prayed for 1,000 times, but you cannot run if the leg is broke. Our brain...
You can't run if the leg is
You just
broke.
can't. God can give you that you going to the Olympics this year and your leg is broke. So you can get
That's
that
big.
honor all you want.
That's big.
But
That's big.
but you have to work on the mental and the physical things that are scientific in your body as well. They absolutely go hand in hand. I can't have first of all, for me, I can't walk on true faith and honest faith and really being faithful if I haven't put all the goddamn work into it. If y'all haven't seen the video clip where Kerry Washington is talking about the bus when she's like, I can pray as much as I want, but when I see the bus coming, if I don't run for
if I don't run like hell for it, I'm
going to miss it. And understand that going to therapy is running like hell for your mental. So you need to be able to go into church and pray and be faithful to God and talk to God about your needs. Absolutely. But there is a license. Let me be very motherfucking clear.
Yep.
When you go to a licensed professional, that is a person who is trained to help deal with your brain as a muscle and as a function.
And the truth is, there's a reason why churches have therapists.
Yeah.
Churches have therapists. And the reason for that, and a lot of times, not all the time, but a lot of times when people Bible thump at me, when I'm on the logical end of things, when I'm talking about healing and unpacking stuff and accountability, it's the accountability piece that people running from.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like
I think it's necessary. I
feel like sometimes I get Bible thumped because people don't want to admit what they've done. And like sometimes they use the spirituality or they use the religion to skirt past the fact that they had a part in whatever it was. You get what I mean?
Because I'm not even
convenient.
Yeah,
like
I'm not even gonna bash.
It was God. It was God the reason that it happened versus the choice that this person made that affected you.
Yeah,
you get what I mean?
Or like that's the devil's work. No, baby, that was you. That was
well,
you.
I'm not even going to bash.
Sometimes.
For me, I'm not gonna bash the understanding of Bible thumping. I'm not gonna bash what you read in the Bible. I'm not gonna bash what the Bible told you. I just think you gotta go to therapy too.
Yeah.
Like you can tell me all day that God did this, and he probably did because he does everything.
Right.
But you do understand that he created your scientific ass brain too.
Right.
Like he created it. He created all of our brains to have certain functions. There's cognitive behavioral development that is going from that. Some of the shit that you're doing is because God made your brain to do it that way. Mm-hmm. Period. Mm-hmm. And so there has to be an understanding because that is not discussed in church. Period.
Yep.
You are not in church talking about why your brain reacts to jealousy in this way.
Yeah.
Why your brain reacts to anger this way.
That's deep.
Why your brain and your body reacts to depression this way, anxiety. Yes, you can pray all day about all those things needing to leave, but there's also space that you have to have understanding too. Like, you got to know how your body works.
Because even when she was talking about postpartum, that's a chemical thing.
Absolutely.
Like, that's a scientific thing. It's real.
We in second and third grade classes looking at full body skeletons of why each part of our body and our joints are built this way and our legs are built this way and our lips and all this other stuff. Our brain, just like it's handling the physical functions of our body, it is handling the emotions as well.
That's
and
fair.
Emotions are not just spiritual.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But that's just kind of how I feel about it.
Okay.
I got a question real quick though.
Yep.
If you went to if you had to go and sit down therapy session with somebody, one person, you got to answer very quickly. Who would it be?
As difficult as the session would be, my grandma. My mother's mom. She is the end all be all. She is the rock of the family, and I love my grandma to pieces, but she can be very toxic, and I think that's gonna be like talking to a brick wall. But I would still love to do it.
That's cool. What about you?
My mom, hands down.
Okay.
It's the biggest topic for therapy for me all the time, and if I could have had that opportunity, I definitely would have taken it.
I got you.
Definitely.
Mine is a tie between my mom and my brother. I still haven't figured out which one yet. I believe my brother because that's more likely not to happen. I might can still get my mom into a therapy session now. My brother, though, probably not gonna happen. But he got some shit. Like, he just has a completely different perspective on our life. And in some spaces, he angry at me about having a different perspective. And so I would love to sit down and have a conversation about what my life looks like and why it looks the way that it does, and to get some understanding on why I am who I am, and how even though you're angry about whatever it is that you're angry about, I still am allowed to have my own perspective. You know what I'm saying? So I would love to sit down and talk to my brother about that. But, if y'all know my brother, y'all know he ain't talking to me. So, maybe one day we'll keep praying. Let's all pray.
Right.
No, pray on it.
Like, that situation has my deepest prayers, though, because siblings are,
Yeah.
siblings are siblings.
He is my only living sibling as well. But, he'll be all right. I listen, I done went to therapy.
Yep.
So... you learn in therapy that some people's stuff is not your stuff, even though it's
you gotta put it down.
Sometimes
You gotta put
it's
it
on
down,
you. And
so
so
you can't
I
do nothing about it.
pray for him, love him deeply, love my nieces and nephews. I absolutely have love for him. But Lamont, let's hit a therapy session if you game.
Okay, period.
Or just keep being mad. I don't know.
It's a clip. All right.
All right, so let's talk Fantastic Four. Y'all know I love superheroes.
And I like your shirt, period.
Okay.
Sis got on all the black superheroes.
Right.
Y'all see him? Got the Black Storm up in here.
Period.
Miles.
All they missing is Halle Berry on that thing.
Okay, that's
Catwoman.
Halle. That is Halle.
Is it?
Let's just say
Black
it's
Panther. It's Halle inspired. Who else been a Black Storm?
Period.
Okay, anyway, Fantastic Four. So, y'all know I always want to ask you a real quick four. So, this is just like the mental health check-in. Move really quickly. What are 4 things that you learned about yourself during therapy? Boom. DJ, go.
I am very guarded. I hold grudges. I need to process and release it and not hold on to it. That's hard. That is hard for me. I'm very emotional. I try not to be, but I am. I'm very emotional. Which I already knew this, but I think I'm a good communicator, and I am not. I in my head, and when I try to talk, like, I think I am perfectly communicating how I feel and being very logical. Not really.
Girl, that's deep, because I feel like that's damn near half the world problem.
Yeah,
4.
not really.
What's the 4th? I like therapy. I was one of them ones where I hate it, but after I do it, it's a lot, and I gotta process and woosah afterwards, but I always am happy that I did it. So I thought I didn't like it. I actually like it. Cool. I love that. What's yours, Missy?
One, that pay attention to your body. Emotions show up in your body way more prominent than you think too.
They show up
They
in your
think
head.
they do.
Yep.
Pay attention to your shoulders, where you hold your stress, when your palms are sweating, when you feel shame, when you feel that drop in your stomach, when you feel that tightness in your chest. All of that shit means something. And 9 times out of 10, unless you're having a severe medical problem, it's tied to an emotion. Okay. Second, ego. It serves me in some spaces, but I have to really learn how to hone that, get control of it, reel it in sometimes, because my ego can run off. I don't extend the most grace. Like, once I feel disrespected past a certain level, regardless of what that person's intentions was, if I feel the disrespect past a certain level, I'm done with you. And I don't really give people a chance to explain, So that's number 3. I got to work on that. And number 4, my issue with perfectionism as a survival skill. Once again, it served me before, but it's not realistic, and it's a lack of giving myself grace in that instance. So I got to work on that. The perfectionism piece, the ego piece, both of them kind of work together.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, perfectionism was one of mine, so I'm going to just go first so that it tags on to what you said. perfectionism is a big deal for me. I didn't realize how much it is attached to my everyday life as much until I started going to therapy. And then I realized I had outrageous expectations for myself that just, I mean, just not realistic at all. Like, sis, what the fuck? Like, it's a little outrageous.
Same.
And I still battle with it. Because I catch myself now being faced with certain challenges, projects, things, you know, and I'm not feeling successful unless perfection is there. And that's just not a realistic thing. So I didn't realize how deep that was. So perfectionism. The other one is my trauma. So my trauma is loud. My trauma is big. My trauma is way bigger than I ever thought it was. I'm blessed to have had a really, you know, a solid life, cool life. My mama sacrificed whatever she needed to give me. My dad sacrificed in a lot of spaces. You know, I'm blessed. I didn't have abuse in ways that a lot of people have. You know, so you walk around trying to be being grateful, and then I get into the work and my trauma is whooping my ass. Like just traumatic experiences, it's kicking my motherfucking ass. So, really having to identify what trauma looks like, and it's almost the entire makeup of me. You know what I'm saying? Like almost everything about me.
Too much space. You think
is somewhere related to a response, even whether it's a positive or negative response to my trauma, my survival, things like that. So, just really pulling back the slow. First of all, not being overwhelmed that my trauma has so many issues, and then slowly pulling back the pieces one by one and kind of biting off as much as I can chew and being okay with that. So that's one. That's two. Another one for me is that emotions are not bad. So that's a big one. Even how you were just saying, like, I try to be logical and not show my emotions. Like, if there's anywhere in the world to bring your emotions to the table, it's in that room. Right. And therapy has taught me that we are very emotional beings. Yep. And a lot of these relationships that we dealing with, these very close ones, family, sibling, spouse, these are the most emotional relationships that you will have. So I had to learn, even in arguments with my husband or just spaces where I'm trying to defend myself or at work or whatever, when emotion is used against me, I've had to learn to embrace my emotion. Hell yeah, I'm angry because it matters to me. Hell yeah, I'm passionate because this is important. Hell yeah, I have an attitude, or I'm sad, or I'm this, or I'm that, because it is showing other spaces in me where it matters. This is the makeup of who I am. And so, the biggest thing is I will not be shamed by my emotions anymore. I don't give a fuck.
And people do that to you quick.
Oh, baby, they do it to me real quick.
You know, I'm too much.
I'm doing too much.
Especially in our community, because we're not supposed to be emotional.
Oh, yeah. And I'm a Cancer. You know, I'm a Cancer. Motherfuckers love saying, oh, you just a crybaby. No, bitch, I'm not playing. Like, and that's just really what, like,
period.
I'm not playing. I'm not a crybaby. I'm angry. Right. Like, and I'm standing on that. And this is what anger looks like for me. This is what frustration looks like for me. This is what rejection looks like for me. This is what abandonment looks like for me. Like, being able to communicate those things and stand on it. Yeah, bitch, you hurt my feelings. Like, calling friends and saying, hi, you hurt my feelings. You know what I'm saying? So anger is not a bad thing. And then the fourth thing is just, take a breath, child.
Yep.
Love on yourself. Bravo, applause, clap for yourself. You know what I'm saying? Like it taught me to really start looking at my to-do, start really giving the things on my to-do list that are already done credit. Like, write the shit out whether you did it or not. Like, and when I say to-do list, I'm talking about the big goals, the big whatever. Like, really sit back and look and appreciate yourself for the shit that you've been through with all the trauma, with the perfectionism, with the emotions.
Because me, sometimes I check something off and I'm automatically on to the next thing. And I didn't even soak in the fact that, bitch, you prayed to be here at law school graduation.
And you trying to get out.
And it's the day after graduation and you already on to the next thing. You ain't even... pat yourself on the back for all of that shit.
And how dare you move that quickly? America was created. You know what I'm saying? That's when the faith and the religion and spirituality came in. I wasn't supposed to ever get a master's degree. Got one, and then now I'm like, shit, I'm one of the lowest people with a master's degree.
Sitting here, my ancestors' wildest dreams, hard as fuck on myself, and that's crazy.
And it's crazy. And that's where therapy comes in. It is the constant checker of, no, you really the shit. I mean, you know,
Yeah.
you really the shit. Like,
Yeah.
count your shit up. You know,
Yeah.
like, count your evidence. That's the
Yeah.
thing that
You
I
had to
I
tell
Put your
me
stats
that.
up, sis.
Put your
Yeah.
stats up.
All
for
the
sure.
little mom wins and shit. Like,
Yeah.
Count them up.
They
Yeah.
count,
That's
they
had to
count
tell me,
every
like-
point LeBron scores.
Every time.
They count every win LeBron has, every MVP, every
Shit.
ring, every
game
so
he done
count
won
your
on
shit.
the run on the third Wednesday. Like, have you ever listened to them damn shows?
Yes.
The dumbest shit.
This is the highest scoring game for an NBA player after coming off a 4-week injury.
Yep.
Oh.
Yep. Like, not. I didn't
the
even know
fuck?
y'all put that data
They have
together.
pat them
Like,
niggas on their ass for the littlest
for
shit.
everything.
Okay.
And so, yes, start patting yourself on your ass.
Yeah.
That's my biggest thing. So, I just want to thank y'all.
Yes,
that was
this
an
was
awesome,
good.
fantastic four.
That was good. So I want to say thank you to you ladies for being vulnerable and Des for dropping some knowledge on us based on
Yes.
your expertise, period.
The
But,
licensed therapist.
Yeah.
Just to be
But
clear.
the main point of
Big
this
license,
is
Big
okay.
license.
big license,
okay?
not the little one.
Not the little one.
Don't play.
And I know made up license. And I know made up profession.
Oh, you talking about the life coaches?
You know what? I fucks with life
got-
coaches, right? I fucks with life coaches. I do think some of y'all do the absolute most. I think that you know what? Since we're here, I need life coaches to do a little research on what life coach is, and I don't really know. But okay,
I just don't know what a life coach
coaching
is versus a minister, pastor, or a therapist outside of the fact that you don't have training.
Yeah, but
Don't
that's a
have
big ass
training.
difference.
I
to
mean,
not
I
have
know, but
training.
I'm just
Yeah.
saying, like, you know. But anyways, thank you,
I
ladies.
just can't stand. Y'all just can't do what therapists do. Like, I
Yeah,
fuck
you
with
just-
life coaches until I run up on y'all
Yeah.
and y'all down talking therapists.
I
Because
just,
then
you know,
I'm on your ass.
I don't know. I just see a lot of
And
stuff
y'all
online.
life coaches need a therapist.
Yeah, and not even just the life coaches. This is like the wellness thing, period. Be careful who y'all trust and who y'all paying to guide you through your life.
Look for the
A
license
person,
number
yeah,
and search
like a
that bitch.
person without qualifications and all that. The only thing they can tell you is their own experience. You get what I'm saying?
And which is
'Cause a life-
valuable.
yeah. That's a motivational speaker. That's not somebody that necessarily
Is
needs
it
to be coaching you on
clinically- yeah.
yeah. So all I'm gonna say
Is it
is
the
just
science?
be careful.
No.
Just be careful because they won't be able to diagnose you if you have a real issue.
And you also
They
can't
won't-
fucking sue them when they mess your
Right.
shit up.
They don't have the expertise to say, hold on, your issue ain't discipline. Your issue is depression. Your
Yeah.
issue is this. You get what I'm saying? So just be very careful about who y'all pay for stuff. And not just only life coaches. These people give you creams and Yanni steams and all of this stuff. They don't know what the fuck none of that is. But anyway, because, baby,
Because you can't be trusting somebody putting something in your body and they ain't never took a chemistry class.
I can't tell you how many people have come to
Or a
me
biology
using
class.
body butters offline and stuff, and they got rashes.
Yeah.
They got nut allergies that wasn't on the label, all kinds of shit. So just be very careful about who you trust with your wellness, with your healing, with your well-being. However, thank you so much.
And just because it worked for one person don't mean it worked for you.
Right. Thank you
We
so-
all got some waist beads and they broke me out and then broke them out. Break them out. I'm just saying.
No, they eventually broke me out. But thank you so much, everybody, for listening. I want you to take care in yourself, take care in your mental health, take care in healing, whatever that looks like. You are not a superwoman. Take your cape off and just see what it is you really need to do to better yourself every day.
Thank
the
y'all
small
for-
wins, the small steps. That's
Thank
it.
y'all for joining the Surviving Superwoman show. We are on our way up out of here. Who we got over here?
It's your girl, Missy. Thank you so much for listening. We love you so much.
Who else we got?
It's DJ, y'all.
With the peace sign. They can't hear the peace sign.
And then we've
y'all
been
can't see
vibing.
And then y'all already know this is your executive producer, Des, in the building. And we want y'all to check out Surviving Superwoman Show everywhere that you look for podcasts. But if you specifically want to look in a couple places, make sure you check out Apple Podcasts, Spotify Podcasts, and, just go on to the regular spot, GoldenGirlsGroup.org.
You can find
And you can
everything.
find everything that you need. And, also you can donate to our nonprofit, Golden Girls Group.
We love you. Thank you.
Peace out.
Bye.
Find you a licensed therapist.